On this lovely new moon, we have some beautiful, beautiful messages for my 5D mystics. For those who are in tune with their own clairs in this lovely field of consciousness from a 5D spectrum, you know it's all energy and not energy vampires and not dark auras and not that you are only a spiritual process or only human experience. So 5D mystics, no, we are person. We are humanity. And if you don't know it, then you're finding it out now. And we're functional adults. So that means the Purusha Prakriti people, unconditionally loving with our own flaws and imperfections. And we also know our desires, our values, all that stuff. And we get to share it in our playground with our lovely family. So for 4D, 3D, or those who still have what are adaptive children that protect their inner child wounds, those individuals don't do functional adult love language. They don't do bringing together human, spiritual, or spirituality elements. No, for an adaptive child, they're going to stand there and they're going to say, you can't do that because they're only using their left mode. They don't have integrated brains yet. Now, they can choose that. It's not our journey to choose that for them. They get to choose that when we're interacting. So for my 5D mystics and the functional adults who are in their lovely enlightenment soul age group, which is easy peasy because you move into integration of the brain. So you use your left and right mode when the sensations, images, thoughts, and feelings come up as you're growing up, those charged states, we all have them. You don't use them and basically say, let me point and shame, blame, or fault, or do something called revenge. No. And so when we meet though manipulators, gaslighters, ghosters, all the people that do envy, spite, jealousy, all of it, you name it, you name all, I could give you a list. And in fact, my listeners know about this. And anytime since I was a teenager that I've encountered what is basically an adaptive child protecting their inner child. Oh, and for the people who know about Maya land, it's all people who are Maya land, monkey brain, dull brain, butterfly brain, one focused brain, and then the ones who are enamored with their own light. Don't get me started with those ones. 4D mystics are all over it as they call themselves anointed, not anointed, and then talk about falling in love with themselves and out of themselves and dying, and nobody dies. You don't die. What you're doing is called post-traumatic growth, if anything. So let's use words that can equate what's really happening, which is overwhelming feelings and ego self, which we all have, which is not a bad word. So you can bring spirituality and the human elements, the science stuff, because somatic, sensory motor, and trauma experts are saying the same things that I hear when I hear Sadhguru speak, except for the translators don't bring it together, the middle people. There's 5D mystics, here we are. So the 5D mystic knows we're a infinite, higher, human, expanding consciousness, because we got secondary consciousness. We don't need to know how the mind works, but thank you, Daniel Siegel, for spelling it out. Finishing up my lovely interpersonal neurobiology course, and here's how the left and right mode do when integration of the brain happens. They don't stop each other. They're all hands on deck. Until integration of the brain, though, you're switching on and off between one and the other. So who's the host of that lovely brain? And by the way, it's an embodied brain, so you have a nervous system, which if it's not in the ventral vagal, then you're in your survivor mode and you're using a stress body. And when I see people who do neuroscience and are one focused and they tell you to focus on how stress can expand you, I'm like, now they're going around telling people to be in their sympathetic versus explaining to them how to move into their ventral vagal. And that's a neuroscience person who has a title and has what looks like the ideal quote unquote alpha male. And I'm not even going to bother with that one, because the actual experts are saying, the one who even used it, he's like, they coined it and used it and they did a bad job with it. So the quote unquote alpha male of the toxicity of malehood, which anytime I see any of them, I'm like, what? Okay, you really need a good therapist, because you don't have any relationship with your emotions, and that's going to come back and bite you in your health, not with people, because there's plenty of the individuals, not only women, obviously, that are attracted to the alpha male type. The ones of us who are like, what are you doing to your body? Because all of this emotion and energy, I can see it pent up in there and it's not going anywhere. Does not feel in any way, shape, or form like a flowing. Yeah, the divine masculine energy is completely different when mature, just FYI. My 5D mystics know about that, as well as the divine feminine energy. And really, we have both energies, so you're a whole. And when you're a whole, you're like, okay, know the difference between who's mature and who's not. And this is where 5D mystics are. We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Human science stuff, pseudoscience lady is good. and then the clear stuff. And the clear stuff is about energy. So when we're around any people, what we feel is if they're pent up energy, it's like, okay, I need to move away from you because you're really, basically, my playground is now full of what is your not playground, and it's not fun. So I'm going to move away from you so you can have fun your way, which is not fun. And so what it's saying is this person, because they got a title, people who look up to this type of style, they're like, I'm going to be stressed all the time. And it's like, no, that's hurting your body because that's your sympathetic nervous system. And now there's a whole series of effects that's going to take place. But hey, don't believe pseudoscience, lady. Please keep doing stuff. So long story short, for the 5D anything, it's about compassion, love. We actually do recognize that people want to believe one focused, and the ones who are enamored with their light, they have followers. Because they look really good and they do things with, I know everything. And so what do children want? They always say what children will want. So if idiots are dead sure, what do you think a child's going to like if they are afraid of life? Which means they're afraid of themselves, which means they have, unfortunately, shame, blame, fault, or potentially revenge. The inner child wound is an inner child who is living what is the sensations that arise from unresolved trauma. So it's a serious deal. Intelligent ones wander. Wander means wow. Okay, so back to serious topic, because see, here's where 5D mystics in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, we care about our relationships, and that's where this new moon clears away a lot of BS from 4D land, 3D land, and anybody who doesn't know why the Zen masters are compassionate beyond a reason. We walk with the people, all the people, because we're not better than anyone. I'm flawed and I'm perfect, and I have emotional triggers for sure. Ask my lovely mother and my twin. When I get pissy, what happens? So we all have a tone, and we all have charge states. Some people have serious situations, and thank goodness for the field of science, because they can help them to move out of dysregulated and modulated embodied experiences. They can help them to actually work on understanding what's rising up and why those triggers happen, and how not to have shame of anger and bursts of anger, or, if you are, for example, a liar or a cheater, when you have compulsive behaviors that are maladaptive responses, because now that you're an adult, they're maladaptive. But as an infant, 0, 1, 2, 3, they were not. The 5D mystics destigmatize also all people. This is all 8+ billion people were infants. So we do not believe in any way, shape, or form in this word called evil, as the people from the religious and philosophical texts have used, or people who are just everyday, who don't know a basic of good psychoeducation, and I mean somatic, sensory motor, and trauma. So long story short, new moon, that's where all the time, 4D, ever since I've heard of ascension, new moon, full moon, major upgrade. Here's what the upgrade is. It's you getting to choose if you want to connect to your ventral vagal nervous system, because that's when you can be in a body that is a safe container, or it begins to be one. And it's called using your left and right. What are these sensations that are rising? What are these thoughts? What are these feelings? Let me look at it from equanimity land. I have likes and I have dislikes. Well, of course, something just happened to me. And that's when you begin to have a relationship with your actual brain and the energy body, because your nervous system is there. So you're stopping to say, wander, Krishna Lila. If you criticize yourself, which is the same shame cycle, inner critic, outer critic, and then you deny through drugs, sex, alcohol, food. These are things that can become compulsive because they're stress relievers or wasting your time. Procrastination, Maya land, is, again, the butterfly, the dull, and the monkey brain. The monkey, butterfly, pretty much we have rumination. Okay, so for my 5D mystics, we're here to build lovely, lovely, mindful relationships to Zen masters, be the Zen masters, to support people who want to move out of the sphere of limited consciousness, not because they are lesser or no, limited, because if you don't know how to handle what comes up here, you're not going to be able to express yourself from the heart in all of you. We are masculine, feminine energy, masculine, feminine, whichever way, the left, right. Your body is also the feminine, and just your head, your masculine. There's a lot of ways we talk about it. But again, for my lovely 5D mystics, the major upgrade is you becoming more loving. It's you becoming more of yourself in that infinite, higher human, expanding consciousness way. Enlightenment is the name of the decade or the era. So come on and join us. And I hope that you're having a good one.